Hope you all can hear me. Full moon is coming up. I just want to check in with you all and, just remind you all about my Etsy shop. And I want to do a little live oracle consultation right now on the topic of Black female friendships. I want to discuss some things, but if you do have any questions, just go ahead and enter them in the chat and I will try and answer them, as long as I'm live. Um, but I was inspired this morning to talk about Black female relationships and why some may feel strain in friendships between Black women, and why some sisters may find it difficult to gain friendships with other Black women. And just giving a bit of a spiritual perspective and talking about sacred femininity and the times we're in. um it- the 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 way you relate to other Black women as a Black woman has everything to do with your relationship with yourself. Peace, Yoda. um yeah, I really you said crazy. I thought about the other day and now you're live. Yeah, I literally just like woke up like inspired to talk about this. So this is a goddess message. This is a message from the sacred feminine mysteries. This is a message from the goddess. Um Particularly Oshun. As you all know, I deal with those mysteries um in a particular way, the mysteries of witchcraft. And that's why I want to give a spiritual perspective in terms of a perspective as a gifted women, as gifted women. Um, a lot of times I'm speaking to us and for us, but I want to talk to Black women right now in particular, um, as well as gifted women. But Black women have a harder time relating to each other in this day and age because the diversity of the Black female personality has expanded, and it's um the 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 amount of Black women that are free within themselves, free to wear their own hair, free to accept their skin color and not feel the need to apologize or justify how their skin color is perceived in society anymore. Um, Black women free to choose what type of relationships they want to have and what type of lifestyle they want to have, not allowing society to judge us for whether we choose to be single moms or became single moms or choose to remain single and are independent or have to work or are married, happily married or unhappily married, divorced. Black women are not marginalized as much, and that can cause a strain on Black female relationships because your relationship with yourself has a lot to do with how you relate to other Black women. And while the freedom that a lot of Black women have achieved, um, particularly financially, which we really have to congratulate ourselves on a lot more, but that's not the topic right now yet. Um, the levels of freedom Black women have achieved in America and worldwide, it allows us to express ourselves freely and and be Amanda Seals talked about how a lot of Black relationships are trauma bonds, And now that Black women are free in so many ways, what happens is Black women who are dealing with trauma or experiencing um, slave syndromes um, are so vastly different than Black women who are living in our freedom. And what I mean by that is it's easy, and it was easy to relate to other Black people when we were all oppressed, because it was imposed on us to be amongst ourselves and to understand that we found solace and comfort and safety within ourselves because we were being oppressed severely during slavery. Um, and now that we have the ability to express who we are, I think we as Black women, we're trying so hard to relate to one another based off of the premise of Blackness, that we are not relating to each other genuinely based off of the type of women we actually are. And we are not giving ourselves permission to reject things that do not reflect us because we're afraid of not being part of a false sense of sisterhood that has been happening, that is getting Black women nowhere. We're afraid of rejecting um, aspects of Black culture that we don't like or that we don't approve of, or that it simply is not who we are, because we don't want to lose some Black heart or not be part of some collective that's happening. And and that strains Black female relationships if the only thing you have in common with your girlfriends is that you all are Black, and that you all are experiencing Black trauma bonds instead of the freedom of being a Black woman. And I want to go deeper into that, and feel free to share your experiences too as I see your comments. And peace, Wild Violet. um so I want to kind of break it down a little bit and then talk about some solutions. One of the first things that I see straining Black female relationships is um your relationship with your hair, Black women. So look at your relationship with your hair and other Black women's relationship with their hair. Are you still wearing weave and wigs and perms, frankly, and doing things to look like a white woman or be accepted by society? Are you doing things because you do not have a genuine connection to your crown, to your hair? As a Black woman, whatever texture it is, I am not talking to mulatto women or mixed women any way whatsoever. You have to be Black to understand this. Because Black African women have all different textures of hair. But as a Black woman, are you able to do your own hair in a cultural style that has nothing to do with colonization or colonialism or being accepted by white supremacy? Or are you still styling your hair according to the caste system, and damaging your hair and your natural beauty and the natural texture of your hair in order to fit into a caste system, white supremacy, and these social norms of Black women covering up and wearing wig and wearing weave? So we have to talk about how a black woman's relationship with her hair is directly related to her ability to relate to a black woman who is living with her crown on, who is bearing the weight of her crown, of the bearing the weight of being a natural black woman in a world where you are told to cover up your hair and look like a white girl. So if you have not developed the strength to be beautiful as a black woman, and you are still adopting other forms of beauty that are not natural to you because you hate yourself or you were not raised to be a naturally beautiful woman, do you understand how that's going to strain your relationship with black women who have taken on the responsibility in a lifelong way, not just discovering, but have been bearing another burden that you have been running and hiding from? These are two different characters, and it does not always strain a friendship, but we have to talk about why it can be a burden on black women to try to relate to women that you genuinely have nothing in common with, because one woman has been living a life of revolution, has been living a life of somewhat rebellion against the margins imposed on her, and that creates a different chemistry in her body than conforming and cowering and being accepted and living a life where maybe you have a husband because you don't wear your hair natural and you're accepted into a certain society or a certain sorority or a certain caste system. And one woman has been struggling because she's not accepted because of how she looks. And she does not have access to men who have money, who don't marry women who look too African. And we'll get to how money strains relationships just as much as hair. But right now, let's really look at your relationship with your hair. Sisters who are listening to this video, look in the mirror. Look at your relationship with your hair. Look at the black women you are relating to right now. Do your friends reflect you? And remember this too. If you're a free black woman and and you know how to do your natural hair, and you were raised to do your natural hair and raised with the African cultural rites of passage of how to style African hair textures, or you took the journey to be natural and to love yourself and to reject the pressure to look like a white woman, look like a European, are are you okay with the reality that black women have a choice to wear weave regardless of how free we are, regardless of Black Revolution, regardless of Wakanda forever? Are you genuinely okay with black women who choose to be ratchet? Who are you okay with Sexy Red choosing to wear weave and talk about what she talks about? Are you okay with Shikari, uh, whoever, looking ratchet with long nails and colorful hair and tattoos and everything, and that's her choice? Are we um are we so to speak sisters who have your crown and receive all the glory that we receive for being naturally beautiful? Are you fully well aware that it's a black woman's choice to be natural or not, and it's not her obligation, it's not her requirement? So what I'm saying is, look at your relationship with your hair and look at how you're relating to other black women through that. Are you able to be neutral in in the topic of black beauty in order to accept a black woman for who she is? And that means, have you accepted yourself and your choice without feeling the need to impose it on someone else, or without feeling the need to project it on someone else? And this goes for everyone, because a lot of you black women, This is where the strain comes in. A lot of you Black women, you don't know anything about natural beauty, and you want to get validation from those of us Black women who understand natural beauty, who have been living in it, who have been dealing with the backlash of choosing to look how we look as African women with African features instead of conforming to white supremacy. Okay. And a lot of you sisters are trying to get validation through being our friend. And particularly those of us who are actually spiritual, who our hair is spiritually activated. And we're taking a spiritual responsibility by being natural. We are sick of you Black women who have no ounce of sacred femininity, who don't understand natural beauty, who have not put in the work to be natural, trying to find some natural beauty through being our friend and trying to find validation through being our friend. We are not a commodity for you all. You Black women need to stop trying to relate to women who you have nothing in common with in the context of spirituality, womanhood, sacred femininity, and African culture. You Black women who all you know is wig and weave and damaging your hair and all that, stop trying to relate to us. Do the work to actually understand our lifestyle. Do not think you can manipulate a friendship out of us. Book a fucking reading. But do not try to manipulate a friendship out of, because at this point I'm not, it's what your hair says about you as a woman. And if you genuinely have your journey within yourself and you're not trying to project it on others, and you don't need to bond with someone on just a superficial level, but most Black female friendships are very superficial. And it becomes strained when we are trying to bond on another level, and a lot of Black women have nothing in common with one another beyond, oh, we're Black women and we kind of look alike. But when it comes to Black women's friendships and everything, when it comes to the intimacy needed, if you have nothing in common, go bond with other women who you can talk about what it's like to scratch your weave and gorilla glue and all whatever, and the damage from your lace fronts or whatever. Because a lot of times natural Black women, we don't get around and talk about what type of shea butter we use. We all have our own practices because we have a relationship with our hair. We don't bring that to the friendship. We're relating to each other, and we're not sitting around talking about our locks all day. So I don't really know what Black women who wear weave with y'all and perm your hair, look like white girls and all that. I don't know what y'all sit around and talk about all day. But I see it online, and I see it at work, and I see it, when I'm working, and I see groups of women who look a certain way and this, that, and your hair becomes you. And our hair, those of us who are natural or who have locks, or our hair becomes us. And instead of talking about our looks, or how much we have to put into our looks or pay for our looks or this, that, we're actually just kind of vibing. We're feeding off the vibrations that our natural hair gives off. And you women without natural hair, you don't have vibrations to give off. And I shouldn't say that, because a lot of you do. A lot of you all have wonderful personalities. But the foundation is the crown. That's the foundation of your relationship with yourself, and that's the foundation of your relationship with other Black women. What is going on with your hair? Because that's going to determine even the conversations you're able to have. So really think deep and hard about how your relationship with your hair is affecting your ability to genuinely relate to other Black women. Most of you black women who are looking like white women, you genuinely relate to other racist white women who don't like um dark-skinned black women with natural hair, who don't who feel the same way about how you feel about your looks that you do. That is not good enough, and that you need to look lighter and brighter and whiter to be feminine. And you cannot and you will not bring that attitude into a friendship with the spiritually activated black woman who was wearing her natural crown among white supremacy. And too many of you all are trying to. And some of you all sisters, you don't have to allow it. Nor do you have to allow somebody who's on a spiritual journey, on a spiritual level, to try to impose their journey on you if that's not your path and it has nothing to do with you. Because you're way better off recognizing it's not your path and they have nothing to do with you than trying to get validation from being friends with a sister who you have nothing in common with. And it all starts with the hair. Now, don't get me wrong, hair is not the main reason black women should relate, but when it comes to real intimate friendships and not, oh, we're just, let's just be seen in public together to show some sisterhood, or like, you don't have to relate on the basis of hair if it ain't but one or two of y'all working at a job around a bunch of racist white people. You don't have to relate on the basis of hair. You can just relate on being black alone because you both will be experiencing, racism. But understand, the girl who's choosing to conform to white supremacy, she's already chosen the route of, I'll do whatever white people need me to do to be accepted. I'll do whatever black men want me to be accepted. So that's where it gets strained. You've already chose your choice in your hair, sisters, and some of these other things is already showing how much of a sister you are, because you're not being a sister to yourself when you choose white supremacy over how God made you. So how are you really gonna be a sister or a friend to other black women when you are living a lie and you're living in self-hatred? Think about this before you try and convince other black women to be your friend. There's too many healed black women out here who don't owe other black women anything, and y'all are really trying to bring your trauma to healers instead of really just doing what you are supposed to do, which is book the reading and show us respect. And respect is one thing that black women do not genuinely have for one another, which is another reason why the female friendships are strained. And so moving on from hair, I do want to talk about respect, but I feel like all these things kind of ties into how black women respect one another. But again, if you as a black woman, if you don't have respect for yourself, you're going to find it hard to respect another black woman who does. You black women, you love to tear down other black women who walk in dignity, who are not stereotypical. And black women, if you all are walking around loud and not poising yourself, not catering your voice to actually heal others when you open your mouth, instead of sounding any type of way and the way y'all just sound, it shows that you don't have any self-respect and you don't understand beauty. And beauty is another thing that is straining black female friendships, black female relationships. A lot of you black women, you don't know how to behave when you see another black woman who you feel is beautiful. Most of you do, don't get me wrong. Most of us black women have no problem complimenting one another. But there's another level of beauty that those of us witches, that those of us women of power are wielding. And sisters, some of you all, there some of you all do not respect black women, black women's beauty, and black women who, those of us who are representing our race in a good light through our looks, through our natural looks. Because you know, the first and foremost, the crown zero is your relationship with your hair is first and foremost of how you're going to relate to other black women. Second of all, your relationship with the goddess, your relationship with the goddess, your relationship with the mirror. Do you honor black beauty, or do you yourself like to tear it down as a black woman? Do you respect other black women? Do you respect black beauty? Or do you like to tear it down? Do you think you're better than black women who are not stereotypical? Do you black women who like to lead with aggression and bully other people and show how well you can fight and beat another woman's ass? Do you genuinely have respect for that sister who wears high heels and carries a purse and lipstick and poises herself in a way that shows I'm here to look good and to be taken care of by a man, not to compete and fight with another woman? Those of you black women, you love wearing gym shoes and I'm not talking about studs and dykes and butch women. I'm not talking about masculine black women, you know, or androgynous black women. I'm talking to black women and femininity. Do you respect sacred femininity? Or do you black women only respect another black woman who leads with aggression and leads with an attitude and shows how bad she is, and is that the only type of strength in a black woman you respect? Or do you respect a black woman's ability to represent our race and make it look good through being strong enough to be feminine, which is being quiet, being poised, being beautiful, letting her hair be her covering, putting the ability to draw in masculinity, not be masculine, putting femininity first. Do we as black women really respect one another in our feminine states? Or do we only respect the attitudes we carry? Do we only respect one another when we have to have an attitude about it? Are we giving respect to one another, or do we have to demand it from each other constantly with an attitude? I don't want to spend too much time on that, but your relationship with the goddess, your relationship with sacred femininity, your relationship with a deity or an entity, or so to speak, the Holy Ghost, the feminine aspect of the Holy Ghost, your understanding of sacred feminine mysteries, if you don't have any respect for a feminine ancestor, a female ancestor that you know, that you understand, Oshun, Yemaya, Oya, Erzuli, La Seren, Mama Chola, Ibu Kole, these, if you are not connected to a divine feminine mystery, you're not going to respect the divinity of another black woman. You're going to want to tear it down and demean it. And you're going to have an attitude when it comes around and sets a much higher standard. And that's putting a strain on black female relationships, black female friendships. There are those of us who have direct relationships to the sacred feminine spiritual ancestors and are living out those mysteries and holding accountability for it in the way we present ourselves to the public. And then there's the rest of you all who either Have respect for the goddess, or you do not. You have respect for the divinity in another black woman when it presents itself, or you disrespect it. So when you see another black woman who has that aura of divinity, it's not that you have to worship her or fall at her knees. It's not about that, but are you honoring that? Are you honoring the sacred feminine when it presents itself in your life, when it incarnates in your life and demonstrates a higher standard for you to achieve? Whether it be how you look, whether it be how you carry yourself, whether it be the type of relationships you have with men or with children, or the type of job you have, or whether it be your character. When you see a divinity in another woman, in another sister, respect it, because it's directly related to your relationship with the goddess. And what you all are not understanding is the goddess brings divinities, brings sacred feminine women into your life. And if you are disrespectful enough to try and lower her to the level of, oh, let me be your friend, when clearly this woman is here to teach you and demonstrate something to you, and you trying to be girlfriends with her, you're not respecting her. Show her respect, because you're learning from her just by looking and watching. And that's where that disrespect comes in. Stop try to live vicariously through being friends with someone, and give enough respect to actually learn and ask questions or book a reading, you know, um, because that's where the learning takes place. And that's and if you don't respect the goddess, you're not going to respect when she brings herself into your life through one of her daughters, is all I'm trying to say. And that's straining relationships, because a lot of you sisters, you're trying to be friends with those of us who are sacred, who you really not even supposed to be touching, let alone trying to hang out with and kick it with, when you supposed to be learning, and you want to learn for free. No, you want to demean the responsibility that we're clearly living with, instead of acknowledging it, because that's the beginning of you achieving that level of divinity, is acknowledging it as divine, instead of as something that you have access to and that you're already reflecting. Because if you're reflecting it, then there will be a genuine friendship. If you're reflecting it, you have something to offer her divinity. Most of you black women, you don't have nothing to offer a divine black woman but your problems and your burdens, and your need to be around someone spiritual, because you live in your muck and your mire and your filth and your trash and your drama and your fake hair, you know and when you see a divine woman, you want to demean her to being one of your girlfriends. Stop that. um One of the other things, so the next thing, so we have your relationship with your hair, your relationship with the goddess, your relationships with men. um Peace, Udashi Pereira. Peace. um Yeah, Wild Violet. Yeah, I'm seeing your comment about, the hair and everything. So yeah, before I move on, remember, birds of a feather flock together. Um, and that's why these relationships are being strained, because your black women are trying to flock with other black women, because we're in such a time where, everyone wants to jump on this, oh, black Afrofuturism bandwagon, and black people are trying to relate to other black people off of being black, and we ain't got nothing in common half the time. So, birds of a feather flock together, and your friends influence. And that's why I'm not discouraging sisters from seeking out friends with people, but understand a friendship is an intimate thing. And sisters are trying to be friends with women who you should genuinely be learning from, or doing business with, or different things like that, because you take on your friends' problems. And most of you black women y'all are just full of problems and drama. And a friendship should alleviate your problems. A friendship should feel like a vacation. Hanging out with a friend should make you feel lighter. And you black women be heavy. You black women be heavy, and burden, and carrying burdens, and carrying attitudes, and even if you act like you're nice and enjoying things, a lot of times, y'all are carrying burdens, and it shows, because you go from you quick to snap, you quick to anger, you quick to cop an attitude. And black women who are genuinely at peace, no matter how burdened we are by life, and when we go out we're genuinely at peace, we don't get an attitude every time someone does every little thing. We're living in a different way. But you sisters who you know are so affected by how the world treats black women, and you not really living in peace and stuff, um you strain friendships, because you're not fun to be around if everything's drama. Um, on that note, you should have at least one or two friends who you can vent to and talk to, and they're gonna ride for you or be there for you. That's intimacy. But that level of friendship takes time, sometimes years. And some of you sisters, you want to come in to a friendship and dump on a black woman. This is why your black relationships are strained, because too many of you black women are traumatized, and you want to start friendships with healthy black women. And we're not having that shit. And I want y'all sisters to stop doing that, because a lot of y'all look bad because you hanging around unhealthy black women, and you're not okay with just being that chick who doesn't have any friends, or being that chick who you have one or two genuine girlfriends, and the rest of your friends are men, or white people, or women of who are non-black, or people online or whatever. Stop. Be okay with not having a group of girlfriends. This ain't everything ain't Instagram and BET or whatever. Be okay with not having a fucking entourage, because I don't, you black women don't know how bad some of y'all look when you go out in droves, and you are all overweight, and you all are wearing weave, and you all are trying to fit into tight clothes that don't fit your bodies, that you clearly don't keep up with, and you clearly don't work out. And maybe some of y'all do work out, you know what I'm saying? And but you're still overweight. And a lot of you have sloppy bodies, and you put so much into looking into your hair, and the rest of your face, and the rest of your body, and your attitude, and your clothes. Nothing about you is flattering. And you don't understand that you all go out in droves, and you all look very unflattering. And it's not what healthy black women, it makes us look bad, and you want us to make you all look good. And that's what some of us black women are. We're making our race look good. And some of you sisters, you get together and you group up, and you have your entourage, and you go out, and you're loud, and then you don't know how to split a bill, and then you all don't know how to just have any class. And then you make people look bad. You don't understand. And in the food and beverage industry, half the time people don't, the servers don't want to serve your table, because they automatically assume you're not going to tip, because half the time you black women don't tip. And the more the more there are of you, the less you're likely y'all is gonna tip. And you want the best top tier service, and you go out intentionally to treat your server bad because you don't understand what it's like for people to respect you because you're a flattering, poised, beautiful, feminine woman. And you get up and you group up and you all act the way y'all act, you know, um and if there's one sister among you who has class and has dignity and can read a foreign menu fluently because she's educated, you know, and can cross her legs because she's actually in shape enough to sit feminine and cross her legs, you know, and she's not, you know, or, you know, she knows how to order at a fancy fine dining restaurant, or she just has enough class to not have to split the bill or to be able to afford her own meal, you know, or you know, maybe even someone else's, you know, if she's feeling generous, you know, and you and she doesn't give the waiter a hard time because she doesn't need all these weird modifications because she understands how different food from different cultures taste, or she's just used to higher quality food. And it's the small little things that you sisters don't really realize how far from the society of upper class black women, healthy black women, natural black women, spiritually activated black women, like sexy, gorgeous, healthy, in shape black women. That you all want to be part of something that you have done no work to be a part of. And you want to be friends with the black women who have done all the work to be part of Afrofuturism, to be part of making our race look good, to be part of, you know, the development in the black community. You know, again, this was like a side note, so this was like squeezed in, you know, but again, the birds of a feather flock together. And this is just going out and you know, be black women in groups. And again, you know, I'm in Chicago. I'm not speaking for every particular state or place, you know, every black people in Chicago, every city, we have our own quirks and quips and ways and, you know, mannerisms and things. But at the end of the day, in general, you can go anywhere and you see groups of black women, and you know, and sometimes it doesn't matter the age range. You could be sisters in their 20s going out to the club or whatever, or sisters in their 50s or sometimes 60s, and and you all are always a burden. The more there are, the more of a burden, you know. And don't get me wrong, some of y'all got some real tight girlfriend groups, and y'all all have great attitudes, and y'all have enough class to go out into the world and go to places and go to fine dining. But most of groups of black women, and I'm speaking from 20 years of experience in the service industry and as Black High Priestess, most of groups of black women, you all are a burden. And I can only and half of the time I can only imagine the burden you are on your husbands and friendships. And this is why a lot of you black women have a very poor quality of life, because your black female friends are nothing but drama and unhealthy toxic behavior, and you can't, and you all are not actually having fun. You're constantly babysitting your black female friend, your stereotypical black female friend. And a lot of y'all are trying to break away from that and get with the, like, with the sorry, like the cool black people, those of us who are free now and living our best lives, and we're taking racism in our stride because we're focused on what we have been doing, either the solutions we have been creating for black people toward Afrofuturism, or we just living our best life because we're free and we're educated and we have money and we have actual class and we don't have to be around other black people all the time. We don't have to be traumatized in the name of blackness. And you black people are you traumatizing one another with your bullshit. So, but I wanted to move on to your relationships with men. That's what's next. Sisters, black women, those of you who are married, congratulations. We love you. You are role models and you do set a standard, but recognize that. Recognize that, sisters, and recognize marriage is a status. Sisters, black women who are married, this is some words of wisdom. And again, I'm not married to a man, so to speak, spiritually. I have commitments, but I'm not speaking as a married woman. I'm speaking as a single black woman. But I'm also speaking as Black High Priestess. Black women who are married, if you want to be happily married and stay happily married, stop hanging around single women and stop letting your unhappy, bitter black girlfriends or just your single black girlfriends who are now living different lives, you know what I'm saying? Keep your marriage and do it in the biblical way. Cling to your husband. The Bible orders the man to leave his mother and father and cling to his wife. Black women, don't let your family come in between your marriage. Don't let your group, your dramatic, toxic black woman entourage ruin your marriage. And some of you, I know you're friends with a bunch of other black women who are toxic to their husbands, and they're married for whatever reason. Y'all got these weak black men, or these black men who have low standards, that have, you know, less than beautiful, less than average sisters, or these black women who marry for money, or you know what I'm saying, or those of you women who have undesirable husbands, or black men who married y'all for reasons other than like pure love, you know, and y'all got these basic marriages, you know what I'm saying, that there's no, it doesn't seem like there's any romance or anything, going on. Again, sisters, your marriage may be better if you focus on that. And black women who have outstanding marriages and there's actually love there, and it's not some type of farce, or just some type of, we're doing this just to do it, or just because we had a kid, or just because we don't want to just be shacking up no more, we're just doing it for whatever, and there wasn't any actual real responsibility taken to really build the covenant, and y'all are just doing, if those of y'all who have some real awesome marriages, words of wisdom, focus on your marriage and spend time with other married people. And single sisters, do not strain your married friends. If you do not strain your married friend, go take responsibility for dating. Let me tell you why people are single beyond the age of 25 or 35 or 45, because it has not happened to them. The same reason someone is drop dead gorgeous and someone else is average is the same reason someone is married and someone else is single. You won the lottery. Congratulations, you found a partner. Most people don't. It's like, congratulations, you're drop dead gorgeous. Most people aren't. Congratulations, your parents were rich and you were born rich. Most people aren't. So when you all who have marriages, and when you black women who have black husbands that are not trash are married, you all have to understand you won the lottery. I am fully aware, and I'm aware because you all will not let me live it down. I'm aware how my looks affect my reality. I'm aware that I have exceptional beauty. that have extraordinary beauty, and that I can do things with that. Black women who are married to good men, who found a good black man to propose to you. Be aware that that is exceptional, it is extraordinary, it is strange, and you have won wealth that very few black women will ever experience in their life. And you black women, if you don't treat it like that, don't get mad when your husband steps out, because there's too many single black women out here. And what I'm saying, and like I said, this is words of wisdom to you married sisters. Stop flaunting it and treating it like it's cheap. That's what a lot of you married black women do. You treat your husband and you treat your marriage like it's something cheap that you could throw away at any whim. You don't really honor it at all. So be careful of that. Because what you do when you dishonor your husband and you dishonor your marriage and you act like it's frivolous, and or when you just flaunt it around, knowing that black women are, or realistically you should know that most black women are struggling. When you do those things, you're putting a bigger wedge in between you and your single friends, because now you're acting like what you have is not something that everyone wants. Now, you know what I'm saying? Now you're treating your treasure like trash. And that opens the gate for other women to, you know, not see you on the pedestal that a lot of sisters realistically see a black woman married to a good black man. When you all are treating these good black men that you have, and what makes him good? Number one, he's handsome. It's very hard to find a handsome black man who will get married. Most handsome black men are utter fucking trash, and they wield their looks to use, abuse, manipulate, and creep into the houses of women who have more than they do. Their characters are utter trash. So if you have a good looking black man who's healthy and who takes care of home, doesn't matter how much money he has, if he takes care of his family, takes care of his home, and takes care of you, you have a good black man. And you have something that most black women don't have access to. Don't treat it like trash, because you're disrespecting him, you're disrespecting yourself, you're disrespecting God, and you're disrespecting all the other black women who deserve that. And you're taunting them to be the side chick. So a lot of you married black women, take your marriage seriously. You want to maintain a good friendship, take your marriage seriously, so your friends still respect you and respect your marriage. Because if you don't respect your marriage, no one else will. That's some words of wisdom. And how does your relationship with a man put a strain on your relationships with black women? Like I said, married sisters, y'all need to operate a little different. You know, um, single sisters, you know, honor the fact that your friend is married. You want to maintain a friendship, understand babysitting may come into play, or not being able to celebrate birthdays and celebrate this, that, because she has to focus on wife duties. Let's put motherhood under wife duties for once. Let's stop separating motherhood and being a wife, and let's just all call it wife duties. That's the problem with a lot of you black women. All you do is see yourself as mothers, and you have no concept of femininity first before motherhood. You think motherhood is femininity. And you've been programmed by white supremacy, being nothing but a slave mammy. You got these slave mammy syndromes and this and that, so understand, like, part of her wife duties are being a good mother. And some of you wives understand there's not a difference between being a mother and a wife. Just because it's normal for black women to get left with a baby by a man, it's just because it's normal for black women to have babies out of wedlock, and just because it's normal for black people to shack up without marriage doesn't make it normal. It just shows how inferior we are as a race. It shows how conquered we have been, how savage we can be. Doesn't, just because it's normal in our culture doesn't mean it's normal in general. So let's remember, being a good wife is directly related to motherhood. Motherhood should be under wife. And 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 when a sister has a positive relationship with a healthy black man, give her that space. Be a good friend by giving her that space, and encouraging. But like I said, a lot of you sisters, if you already are married and y'all are still toxic, this and that, all you're encouraging is some of your good single friends who are better, way better than you. Most of you black women don't really, you put on the, you lighten your skin, and you straighten your hair, and you do what it takes to get married, and then and the reality settles in that that's why you got married. So now you want to keep lightening your skin and straightening your hair, and all these weird things that make you not relatable to single black women who, most of us are single because we're not conforming to white supremacy to get a husband, and a lot of y'all are. So it's just like, stop taunting your single friends who are better than y'all. you know like, focus on your marriage, and let friendships be about, let those friendships be those vacations that it needs to be. you know um Single black women, don't burden and don't strain your friends with healthy relationships. Do take it upon yourself to figure out what you need. If a relationship is your goal, you're gonna have to work toward it. Like some of us are born skinny. Some sisters have to go on weight loss journeys to achieve the body shape that they desire. Some of us get husbands. The vast majority of us have to go on heartbreak journeys to find the relationships that we desire. And most of the time it never happens, right? Most of you sisters, you never lose weight, you never get the body you want. It's always a fucking journey until you just accept the fact that this is how I look. Most of us black women, we get our heart broken time and time and time and time again until we just accept the fact that the universe hates us and we aren't going to get love. So you sisters who are getting love, a lot of you don't have anything in common with sisters who are getting hatred daily, and we don't come home to love. Well, some of us do. But you get it. You all get what I mean. Um the your relationships with black men is going to directly affect how you relate to other black women. A lot of you black women who have healthy relationships with black men, you have nothing in common with the rest of us, the most of us, who are being hated by black men, who are being beaten by black men, who are being used, mistreated, raped, left for dead with babies by black men. And you sisters, you say you say stupid things, and you open your mouth, and you try and you always want to speak up for black men because you have a good healthy one, and you forget that you really have nothing in common with most black women. You have more in common with white women who are being treated properly and who are loved by everyone. Well, maybe not so much anymore in the liberal agenda. It's okay to hate some white women, but they have to do something racist first, and they have to do it in public. you know but black women don't have to do anything to be hated yet. And then you other black women who have a healthy man loving you, you have the nerve to look down and hate on real black women who are living the reality. Being married to a healthy black man is not the reality for a black woman. That's like saying being a millionaire is the reality for black people. That's like saying looking as good as the Black High Priestess, or being a fucking supermodel, or looking like Naomi Campbell is the reality for black women. Sisters, stop thinking because you made it or you have this that all black women automatically have it because you were the first to get it, or you got it, or now you have it. So many of you black women have no respect for the fact that you won the lottery by finding a good black man, and you have no respect for the journey that it took you, and you have no respect for the fact that the majority of black women will never get that. The majority of black women are never going to be drop dead gorgeous like a supermodel and have certain features naturally. They're going to have to look white and wear weave to achieve the beauty that they desire. They're not going to have a naturally pointy nose or certain lips or eyes looking, you know what I'm saying, the way they want. The majority of people are not going to be rich. They're not going to be millionaires, billionaires, and be able to afford all of this, that. Stop flaunting it. Stop straining your relationships by acting like you stop acting like you're still single. Married women should spend time with married women as well. I'm not saying we all can't be friends. Yeah, you want it, like, the best way for a single woman to find an eligible husband is to be around men who like to marry, to be around their friends and their community, and to be in a community where men have morals and they have money and they get married. But marriage is different than being single. So don't stop pressuring your single friends when you sisters, you have help, and your single friends are struggling and this, that, and don't get me wrong, married people could be struggling too and tired too because they may be raising kids. But most of you married women, you have help. And you married black women, y'all run your husbands ragged. Most of y'all run y'all husbands ragged, you know. So he like to dip out here and there because y'all, you sit at home, you get overweight, you're bossing everyone in the home around because, God forbid a black mother just be like feminine and cool. A lot of y'all like to be bossy, in the home, and boss of the home, and then the man's working all day and he's ragging and he's tired because he's a good black man, and then he comes home and you bossy, it's it and it's just like, I don't think married women truly understand how hard it is to be a single black woman who has to work 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 jobs, because she's choosing not to sleep with some of y'all husbands who got all this money that y'all married into, and he got enough money to have a side chick. Or she's choosing not to just sleep with a man for money, or sleep with a deal with a rich white man who likes to buy black. Okay, or she's choosing not to get her ass beat, every so often, just to say she got a boo thing, or she's choosing not to be spoke to any type of way, or being taken on cheap dates or no dates at all, just to say, just to say she got someone on the weekends or whatever, like, a lot of most you married women have no idea how much strength it takes to be single, and that's why it strains our relationships, because a lot of you married women, you're weak. You're weak, and you have help, and you need help, and you want to relate to your single friends who are independent, who we have to do everything ourselves, and we do everything ourselves, and it's not by choice, and you know I think some of the best friendships that stay together are women who genuinely help each other, who help each other, who don't feel any pressure to meet any standard, but who really help. Sisters who help their married friends in their burdens of being a wife or a mother. Married women who help their single friends in their goals when they need actual support that they're not getting because they don't have a husband and they don't have a community, and most of the time we don't have good parents who set us up in a good community or a place where there was eligible black men, you know um moving on to money. Money is another thing that can strain black female relationships because, again, poverty is something that has binded black people together in America for such a long time. And it's not always how a black woman makes her money, but it's how she spends her money, which can really determine the type of friendship that you have. Most black women are making money some way or another. We're making way more money than black men. Um, a lot of times, in the sense of black women who work, um, I'm not saying we're necessarily getting paid more than black men. I just think that black women work more than black men. We get jobs more than black men, and we work harder than black men. And a lot of black men who work and are making money, they're doing it because they have a baby. They're not they're not doing it because they want to be rich or they want to afford a home so they can marry a wife. They're doing it because they made a baby with a woman, most likely that he did not marry. And his money is tied up in him trying to keep up with how many kids he has, or keep up with the fact that he has a kid, or, um, has a kid. Most black men who work, who make money, are doing it because they have a kid. They're not doing it because they can be a baller or they can do this or that. Um, Whereas most black women that work, if she's married, she has joint income. So now she has extra money. You know what I'm saying? She's probably, if she has to work, she's probably married to a black man. That's all. She probably just has to work because she married a black man who ain't got enough money to put her up. Um, but a lot of sisters are married to black men where they don't have to work. And again, what a black woman does with her money can determine her relationships with other black women. You black women who are starting businesses with your money, you have great relationships with other black women because most of your products are for black women by a black woman, and you are able to develop relationships with your entire community of black women because you're giving back with your money. Um, Again, single black women who work, um, have money, have a car, have a place to stay. It may not be that she has so much extra if she has a child, but single black women who work tend to have more money and be able to go out more than a lot of single black brothers that work, whether they have a kid or not. Most black men are broke, whether they have a job or not. Most black women are not broke, whether they have a kid or not. Most black women are not broke. Um, there may be some sisters struggling or on a budget or maybe have some debt going on, but most sisters is getting some money somewhere. Um, so if you're like one of these frivolous black women who just likes to buy stuff to make yourself feel better about yourself because you're empty inside, that's going to put a strain on black female friendships and relationships. Because what right now, there's a lot of black women are investing in their happiness in other ways. Black women are going on retreats. Black women are investing in events catered to other black women. Black women are investing in our own businesses and how we can start our business and profit off of sisterhood and Afrofuturism and the demand for black owned products and services now. Um, you know, if you know if you're independent, that's going to help black female friendships a lot more than if you constantly need something, because a lot of black women want to invest in ourselves now. So if you are a friend who you need a friend because you're not surviving, and you want to cling to a black woman who's independent and she's making moves and she's traveling and she's doesn't have too much baggage, and she has natural beauty. So all of her money is not going into looking like a white girl. Her money's actually going into taking classes to better herself, or getting a fitness routine so she can look the way she wants to look or so she can stay healthy. If her money's going into eating healthier instead of buying cheap food all the time and and all so she can wear weave or whatever, the way you spend money as a black woman is going to determine the activities you do with your friends. I'm not going shopping at the beauty supply all day or hanging out at the mall. You know what I'm saying? Because I want to go to the Museum of Science and Industry, or I want to go to the Said Aquarium, or I know 50 nature spots in Chicago that I could take people to. You know what I'm saying? Or maybe let's just book a photo shoot and we can pose together and get some pictures for our brand or something. Or is there like a business workshop we can go to today? Or a happy hour somewhere with some good drinks and some upscale food that's tasty. You know what I'm saying? Where are all the black owned spots? But if you as a sister, if all you spend your money on is mainstream stuff and being at the beauty all day because you ugly, that's going to strain a female friendship. It's going to strain a friendship of a woman who's already beautiful and wants to experience life and not spend all her money and all her time trying to look like something she's not. And you know how you spend your money and how you invest your money is going to determine things with friendships, because a lot of black women are not waiting around for a man or for a husband or for marriage or the lottery. We're doing what we need to do to create the life we want to create. And there's a lot of things that business owning women or independent black women or just sisters who want to experience the world, and get out of the slave syndromes. There's a lot of things we don't have time for because it takes time to travel and to learn currency conversions and to figure a lot of stuff out on your own. It takes time to grow businesses and things. And some sisters, like I said, um, if you don't have money, if you're always broke, or if you don't invest your money in having fun, you're going to strain friendships. Your friends don't want to always pay for you, and your girlfriends don't always want to wait around for you to do this and do that and get beautiful to go out somewhere. you know um that's the other thing about, black women spend so much on beautification, but if we're going swimming, if we're going to the beach, you can't be a black woman afraid to get your hair wet. If we're doing certain things, this that and it's not like like, don't get me wrong, like I know plenty of sisters that I deeply love that wear weave, but it's just like realistically, if I'm going out to do a spiritual ritual and I know I'm going swimming and I'm going underwater, I'm going scuba diving, I'm doing all these things with water and stuff that I enjoy doing, I'm not going to invite a sister who is allergic to Mother Nature and who's not going to really be invested in the same experiences. um so like I said, most black women have money, but a lot of times it's how we're spending our money that determines how intimate of friends we can be. If you can make money with someone, that's a real test of whether or of how close you can really be as friends. Money sometimes is more intimate than, so to speak, a romantic relationship. Working, doing business with somebody can be more intimate. And when you see how a person invests, when you see someone's work ethic, um, you know, how sisters are making money and how sisters are spending money, it says a lot about your work ethic. It says a lot about your ambitions, and it says a lot about your personal value as a woman. What you bring to any relationship. Um, the thing. So think about the things as a sister, think about the things you are investing in and that you want to invest in. Um, and think about the things that your friends are invested in and that they want to invest their money in. Um, can you pull money to accomplish a goal with your friends? You know, um, don't let money come between a friendship, but understand that if you have a friend that is affecting your financial stability, cut ties. Cut ties. Not saying put money before friendship. I'm saying put responsibility, being independent, and being financially stable before a toxic friendship with a black person who does not understand the importance of investing money, and getting out of poverty and not making bad investments that are going to keep you in poverty. How you spend your time, it is how you spend your money. There's no difference. Time is money in a place like Chicago. So that that's the last thing to remember. Time is money. So what you invest in, what you do daily, regularly, that's who you are. Um, don't let's let go of friendships that are based on getting drunk and getting high together, or you know, whole phases and stuff where it's just based on, oh, we pull more guys when we're together. You know what I'm saying? Like two guys that they get together because they give each other confidence to go sleep with different women all the time. You know what I'm saying? Don't, l- think about what your female friendships are based off of. um if you want to be around different type of women, um try to do it organically. Try to strike up conversations while you're at work with different women you meet and see, can you not connect off of something that is not about being black. For example, it's easy to connect to a sister off of, okay, we're both black, hey, especially if you're around a predominantly white area. But try to see if you can talk to that sister about anything that has nothing to do with black trauma. For example, a song. And, I don't want to say don't make it like a black song, don't make it like a hip hop song, but I would say, like, let the song be from a genre that's not R&B or hip hop. It does not have to be a non-black artist. It could be a black artist, but let it be a song, a African artist that's not popular. Let it be a jazz song, or or orchestra song. Let it be like, classical music, or talk about a book. It's great to talk about black owned books and different things. You can talk about black stuff, but see, do you really relate to this person as a person, or is the only thing you have in common black, and then the whole friendship is going to be about, we experience trauma being black, so we're going to go out into the world and create a safe space with one another. But can you already go deeper up front? Can you talk about something else up front, um that you that shows that you all actually have something in common, that's going to make you all want to see each other again after that moment of meeting them at that event, or at that store, or at that bar, or at with your friends. um it's great if you can connect to your friends and build a community. I think that's the best way to expand. But remember, again, Be in spaces around Black people who are really vibrating at your level. Don't pressure yourself to be around a bunch of spiritual, Afrocentric, business owning, Blacks. If that's not what you're about, don't try to be about it and say you want to be about it because your one brother does it or your friend's getting into it, and you don't want to lose the friendship. Either you're gonna get into it or not. But don't it's okay to want to keep up with your friends and do things with them for the sake of the friendship, but again, brothers and sisters, stop faking the funk. Stop trying to act like you're friends that are actually doing better for themselves. Either you're gonna do better or you're not. And if you're trying to do better, take it seriously. Don't strain those of us who are doing better, and don't act like we owe you anything. We don't owe you friendship. We don't owe you lessons on how to start your business. We don't owe you pointers on how to be a better artist. If you get those things from us, it's great. Appreciate it. And yeah, like, I've gotten some great guidance from other Black artists. Ange 13, one of them. She came and she helped us. She critiqued our performances. She didn't have to give her years of wisdom and experience as a hip hop artist, but it was helpful. That was sisterhood. That was the most sisterhood that I've experienced, um, from a lot of Black women since I've been on the scene as Black High Priestess. It was till I started doing music that I got some real sisterhood from other Black women who didn't feel threatened by just actually helping me after having the experience. You're not going to get that in the spiritual community. You're not gonna get that in the spiritual community. Everybody got something to prove because none of y'all niggas got power. None of these niggas got no real power. But when you're bringing real power, when you don't have to cast pearls before swine, Black people, you don't. You can choose and you can decide when and where and why you share your gifts. Again, my channel is really a lot of times for those of us who are gifted, who are experiencing a completely different layer and another level of spiritual attack, spiritual warfare, and spiritual enlightenment. And we are not obligated to do anything because we're Black. Black women, witches, gifted Black women, those of you who have been spiritually enhanced, spiritually activated into Vodun, Lukumi, and sinking Palomayombe, Santeria, Congo. Those of you who have been spiritually activated, you don't owe anyone anything, including the ancestors, whether you think so or not. Now, some of you may be in situations where if you don't feed your fetish, if you don't honor ancestors with ritual, with regular ritual, you may experience some, different changes or a change in results of how things are going for you. But always remember, if you're dealing with a clean spirit, they're going to help you the same way someone who does it from the heart helps you. If you're dealing with the unclean spirit, they're going to want something in return. It's going to be a transaction. It's not going to be a gift. So be careful what spirits you feed and be careful what intentions you're feeding with. Because when you're just honoring and giving reverence and giving thanks, that's a different intention than here, I'm giving this to you because I want something. Then that becomes the contract. And when you give something with the intention to contract it instead of the intention to actually thank it for what it's already done, different vibration and invokes a different spirit. So be careful of those things. And so to speak, those of us Black women, those of us who are gifted, sisters, stop giving away your friendship, stop giving away your power, stop giving away your gifts, start your business, start, focusing on yourself, start getting to Africa or getting to indigenous place where you can be your spiritual self, and stop letting Black women manipulate you under the guise of friendship into letting them in on your secrets and your powers and your light without paying their dues. And that's what I'm seeing happening a lot. This is why so many sisters are talking about why Black female friendships are strained, because Black women are trying to get stuff for free from other Black women that they have to they that you have to that they're not paying respect for. You're not paying respect, you're not paying your dues. You want to manipulate other sisters of this myth of sisterhood and friendship, when at the end of the day there are those of us who are free and there are those who are still slaves. And if you have not done the work to break your mental, spiritual, and emotional chains, stop trying to be friends with those of us who have. And those of you who are maintaining these trauma bond friendships, recognize how bad you can end up looking by allowing your friends to taint and shade your light and throw shade on your light and dim your light. A lot of you Black people are going around dimmed. Your light has been dimmed because you will not move away from your friend circle or your community or the people that you're so familiar with, who are not going anywhere and who feed off of your power that could be utilized by a different group of people who are about something other than trauma and drama. And this is why female friendships are becoming strained right now, because there are Black women who want to do better, and there's Black women who don't, and who want to, just complain and nothing without actually doing better for yourself, for ourself. There are sisters who are actively taking responsibility for what she needs to do to find a husband. She's actively taking responsibility for her character. She's trying to learn better. And you know, sisters, you have got to be okay with being alone and not having friends if you want to be better. If you want to be free, if you want to be beautiful. You're gonna have to be okay with not having an entourage of angry, bitter, overweight, unhealthy Black women around you all the time. Just you have to be okay with not having company all the time, because misery loves company. you know and your friends are your friends, your girlfriends, they're straining your ability to tap into the freedom Black people can experience if you just let go of the trauma and just live and find where you belong and live. You can live outside of Blackness. You can live outside of identifying with being traumatized. I'm not saying let go of your identity as an African person or African American or a Black person, but your choice to identify as a Black person doesn't mean you have to identify with struggle. You don't have to identify with pain. Most importantly, you don't have to identify with ignorance, low class, low self-esteem. You can identify with superiority, nobility, class, education, self-worth. So let's stop throwing self-worth around, and let's stop telling people what self-worth looks like. For one sister, self-worth looks like getting a degree and having her house paid for and her car paid for. To another sister, self-worth means wearing locks or wearing a fro or wearing her hair natural and representing the way God made her. For another sister, self-worth, maybe self-worth may be marriage. And for some sisters, she may find self-worth through marriage, through her ability to be covered by a man. All these things are self-worth. And all these things are things that Black women have a right to, you know. Um, so just recognize, what is your idea of self-worth, and who can you really relate to? And if you admire somebody, great. But it doesn't mean you inject yourself in their life and treat them like they owe you something, just because they're another Black woman who has something that you want. All right. Does anyone have any questions? Yeah, I feel like I had to perform Blackness and be a Black girl. Yeah, no more performing for one another. We have to put on acts for white people enough in our life, just to survive the economy half the time. That's what I'm saying. Black people, stop. If you are making the life of another Black person harder instead of easier, you don't deserve the friendship. And we're just talking about sisters right now, because a lot of sisters, like, we have to really be there for one another, and we have to stop letting men drive a wedge between our ability to put womanhood first, and to say Black women struggle because you're a Black woman. And we need to stop getting on our high horse and telling other women how to be better women to men, and how to attract a man, and what to do, this, that. Like, there's no overall universal solution. But when and I think the thing is that I saw this sister talking about how she's sick of hearing about Black women glorifying white men, and I'm like, how stupid do you have to be? It's like you've been living under a rock for the last 100 years. Black women are glorifying the men that have elevated us. Black women are glorifying the men that treat us with respect. And for a Black woman to open her mouth and bash another Black woman for recognizing the failures of our men, and for recognizing her own self-worth and allowing herself to be treated as such. For Black women to, any Black woman who refuses to hold Black men accountable is part of the problem. And if you disagree with that, we're not going to agree. Please go somewhere to Black women who need Black men's validation by bashing other Black women, because this channel and this brand is about elevating the Black woman. And the only way to do that is to hold the Black man accountable for his role and his intention to keep us beneath him. Hold the Black man accountable. And if you as a sister are too weak, and you're too jealous of other Black, you're too in competition to hold the Black man accountable for how Black women feel, hold the Black man accountable for how Black women look, hold the Black man accountable for how feminine Black women are. It's okay to hold a Black woman accountable, but not before you hold the Black man accountable, because that's not how God operates. God held the man accountable. You want the man to be a man, hold him accountable. Without accountability, he's not a man. And sisters, your first lesson in sisterhood is holding men accountable. You are not a sister unless you hold men accountable. Because if you're always holding women accountable for what men do, you are an enemy to that woman. You're blaming the victim. And when I sat up there and I listened to this sister, it reminds me of to always remember to hold men accountable, because it does not sound right. It does not resonate. It is a wrong vibration for a Black woman who does not even understand the value of her own suffering, that you're using your suffering to elevate a man who has proven to the world that he hates you. Proven worldwide. that he hates you. And if it were just in Hollywood, and if it were just in the magazines, and if it were just in sports, and if you didn't see interracial dating anywhere else but that, then we could say, oh, it's just white supremacy. It's not true, but it is a fact. It is a statistical fact. The black man will leave you for dead. And in his relationships, he's failing. In the relationships he has with black women, he fails. In his singlehood, he fails to build himself up as a man to be eligible for a black woman. While he's single, he's doing nothing to prepare for what a black woman deserves. While he's in a relationship, he's not measuring up to maintain her beauty, her femininity, her self-worth. And in his richness, he actively chooses the white woman who is in direct competition with you for him. And he elevates her above you and flaunts her and says, you've done all the work for our race, and what you get for it is to be shown that you are trashed by black men. You've elevated the black man, and he stepped on you, stepped on your head and the head of the children he made with you to elevate the white woman who also hates you. And any black woman who gets up here and opens her mouth to hold black women accountable for the black man's hatred of us by saying she is wrong to receive the love and the adoration and the marriage and the status that she will get through other races of men who value us, even if it's to prove to the black man how savage he is and how his trash is treasure. For you to ridicule a black woman for being valued instead of hated is satanic. It's demon possessed. Any black woman who is not holding the black man accountable, you're demon possessed. I don't care how many black men love you. You are demon possessed if you are blind to the pain of a black woman. You have too many black men out here holding black men accountable for some black woman. You have to be a dumb bitch to get in public and open your mouth and defend black men at all for anything. Let him defend himself. You black women are hell bent on being black men's mother and never his equal wife. Never equal to him. You always have to be above him or beneath him. You sisters are so hell bent on coddling black men instead of holding him accountable. You're so hell bent on holding black women accountable, holding each other accountable. And these mentalities that you sisters bring, you cannot be friends with black women. If you yourself hate black women so much that you refuse to hold black men accountable for the damage he does to the black woman, you have a demon on you. You are part of the problem. And sisters, you bring you bring your hatred of other black women into friendships. You bring your hatred of other black women into your motherhood, and you burden your daughters. So I this upload, I really felt just inspired to talk about black female relationships and the responsibility we as black women have to show each other love, to actually really show each other love. But a lot of you sisters, you hate yourself, and that's why you hate other black women. You hate being a black woman. You don't like it, you don't respect it, and you don't really respect other black women. Don't bring your trauma with your mother or with your God or with don't bring trauma into these female relationships anymore, sisters. We are done with trauma bonds. In 2024 and beyond, let's relate to each other based on character from now on. All right. Listen, learn, like, subscribe. Check out my Etsy shop. Go ahead and book an Oracle consultation. And we can get into it some more. But until then, peace and love.